Hi everyone, we're going to just review some supplements here that hopefully will make some connections for you with the topics that you've been doing this week. So we'll look at some supplements for metabolism and muscles. So you have been discussing with Katie branched chain amino acids, and what I'm doing here is just giving you an example. I went into full script here, which is a service some of us use where you can set up prescriptions for patients, and it's like a huge clearinghouse of thousands of different products. And it's nice because there's a built-in catalog as well as a way to authorize people to order their own stuff. So I'm taking some of these slides from full script, or at least some of these screenshots. So here's a pretty good brand, Life Extension, with their BCAA product here. As you heard, BCAAs and taurine are good for recovery. So this one has the usual suspects here: leucine, isoleucine, and valine. In this case, kind of 2 parts leucine to 1 part isoleucine to 1 part valine, 1200 versus 600 milligrams. So interesting comment about ALS here, and of course you'll see branched chain come in handy for other things such as high ammonia levels. I wanted to point this out to you as well. This is the dietary supplement label database. So if you're trying to figure out what is in something, you can go to the manufacturer's website and grind through their catalog. You can do the shopping tab in a Google search, and that can all be great. Sometimes, though, it takes you through a lot of things you don't really want to see. This is done by the Office of Dietary Supplements of the National Institutes of Health, and this has thousands of products. So you can just do a term search or try to go by product, by ingredient, by manufacturer, and here's the link. So taking that, we come up with like the same thing, Life Extension branched chain amino acids. So here they are telling you the size, the suggested survey, etc. And you've also got the supplement facts label. Now, supplement facts is something that the FDA requires manufacturers to put on their product, and it's pretty to the point. Serving size, servings per container, not capsules, but servings, which is defined here, and then what's in a serving. Note, if a serving is 4 capsules, this is essentially telling you what is in 4 capsules. So each individual capsule would have 1/4 of these amounts here, right? Again, from the Dietary Supplement Label Database from NIH, here is what they're giving you. So this is the same amounts, but just laid out in a table, right? So sometimes some footnotes, other ingredients, etc. So this is a great way to just cut to the chase and know what is in something without a lot of fanfare. Let's look at some other products. Here's Clean Recovery by Clean Athlete, a delicious milk chocolate flavored powder. That sounds absolutely wonderful. They're using a whey protein, and they say a special hydrolyzed marine protein. That's interesting. So what do we have here? Some dextrose and fructose, so some sugar, which could come in handy. Whey protein isolate, okay, some kind of fish protein, an alkalinized cocoa, some lecithin. So 41 grams of carbs versus 10 grams of protein. Well, one thing I'd like you to do is compare that to some of the evidence-based ratios that you've been discussing in class. Now, you can certainly play with those ratios and have different reasons for different proportions of carb, digestible carb, net carbs to protein. But what do we have here? About a 4-to-1 ratio of carbs to what looks like a very high biologic value protein combo, certainly, whey and fish. So there's a product for you. Here's an electrolyte product, which has, the biggies here, and a little bit of pyridoxine thrown in for good measure. All right. And of course, this is avoiding, some of the fructose and food coloring that some electrolyte replacement drinks, which we shall not name, might also include. Here's Clean's branched chain amino acid formulation here. So this is by the scoop, and each scoop is providing 2 grams of leucine, 1 gram of isoleucine, and 1 gram of valine. Some kind of ATP formulation as well. That's nice. Be interesting to see the value added of that, seeing as this is something that we make. There's some, calorie-free sweeteners. I could see xylitol bothering a few people's gut a little bit, but it's not a huge amount. Here's another thing to look at. If we're talking about energy utilization for the purposes of staying in energy balance, like for healthy weight maintenance, or for an athlete essentially wanting more energy utilization, mitochondrial utilization, right? We're kind of gifted by nature with a certain amount of mitochondria, and that's the amount we have. Some research that started in Sweden, Karolinska Institute is, I think, in the top 30 universities in the world. Nitrate improving mitochondrial function. So nitrate seems to boost mitochondria, and so you'll see beetroot from the American Heart Association, beetroot supplements possibly helping with, in this case, hypertension, but certainly mitochondria. We can eat beetroot-rich food, nitrate-rich foods too, which I think would be celery and beet. Here's a beetroot powder supplement. We get things like carnosine, again for metabolic support, as well as tissue building support, and maybe more specifically, here's a carnitine supplement, which I suppose would support beta oxidation of fatty acids. So here's how someone might take that. Interestingly, they add acetyl L-carnitine with L-carnitine. Acetyl L-carnitine has this cool property to be able to cross through the blood-brain barrier, and that acetyl group can help with the making of acetylcholine, at least for people that are not making enough acetylcholine. So I wonder if they're just trying to jack up the transfer of carnitine to the mitochondria. Like, why put in this extra ingredient? But certainly L-carnitine is here, and this, is a way to support that. Now the question is, and I think this is a good thing to look at from an evidence-based perspective, if you already have pretty good functioning mitochondria, does taking this supplement really make any difference at all? Or is it essentially more important for people that have dysfunctional mitochondria? Or another question might be, and I think you guys could look into this, I will look into this, I'm sure Katie will look into this, if you are pushing yourself into the extremes of performance, training for a marathon after not, kind of doing that your whole life, does this help you push into the upper extremes of performance? So can you start to use that carnitine when you're making extra tough demands on your cells? Here's another one, mitochondrial NRG. I like how they use code here. So this has coenzyme Q10, which again, some people might benefit from getting extra. This has D-ribose, which is emerging as an important supplement This has a bunch of trace minerals, catalysts really. So here's all your Krebs cycle players, and resveratrol and curcumin, so some awesome antioxidants. Here is another mitochondrial support product, which takes it in a certain different direction. Here's again kind of the central metabolism support, the alpha-ketoglutarate, carnosine, thiamine, riboflavin. So again, the question is this something that everyone needs supplemented? If not, who could benefit the most from this kind of supplementation? Who might be deficient in their ability to make these things? Kind of put together a Krebs cycle series of enzymes, or people under stress, or people in the upper extremes of metabolism. So I think that's an important thing to do when you're thinking about supplements for patients. Because it has a cool name like mitochondrial NRG, it certainly leaves us with a feeling that we're doing something for mitochondria, and we might be, but how much of this depends on the patient, right? Their deficiencies, their dietary status, their energy balance, their nitrogen balance, nutrient depletions, their activity level, kidney and liver function, and various genetic and epigenetic factors. Think carefully about what's in the supplement and the patient and their specific needs, or you might find that these supplements don't do a whole lot. And that is the double-edged sword of supplements. I love them, but sometimes they will make a difference and sometimes they won't for a specific patient. I know you guys have been looking at caffeine with Katie, which is great, and reading up on that. Obviously, some products slip a lot of caffeine in. The FDA cares about how much people are consuming, because some people will consume a lot of one particular product. Here's a classic that constantly gets updated and marketed in new ways, but good old hydroxycut, which people use for weight loss. So I like this Robusta coffee extract, yielding some chlorogenic acid. So there's, quite a bit of liver support here. You've got metabolic support, and here we go. Here's a source of caffeine. Now, of course, there's non-caffeinated weight loss products, but just looking at this one as a classic that has caffeine in it. Now, the thing I'd like you to think about, we know that caffeine and green tea extract and coffee seem to boost metabolism. A lot of that seems to be through fatty acid oxidation. Remember that when we're talking about energy utilization, we still have to come back to the fact that REE is a big chunk of our energy expenditure. We can certainly look at energy expenditure, through your Cunningham model or equation that you've learned or reviewed recently, and look at activity level. But really, it strikes me that a lot of the caffeine effect is just coming into that smaller slice of the pie, which is some kind of thermic effect. And it doesn't really matter what we do. That thermic effect is never really going to be a big slice of the pie. So how much weight loss does this really cause? Or is it an appetite suppressant? And I know sometimes metabolism gets used in different ways, like the thyroid gland, and that's really a whole other topic, an important topic. But when we're talking about thermic effects, so how big a deal is that? So there's a green tea product from Wise Woman. Keep in mind, some people have had liver issues from green tea extracts, and is that just too much of a good thing, or low quality products? I would imagine Wise Woman would be high quality product. Here's a great slide of things that you're going to find in green tea extract. And so the other thing too, just coming back to this ratio of carbs to protein, I do want you to look at this and think about that ratio. How much carbs to protein, and what do you really want for people? Here's another recovery product. That's it.